Good morning. My name is Chris Fox, and today we're going to talk about getting me out of a major dilemma I've gotten myself into. As you can see from the title of the video, I need to write 50,000 words in 5 days. And I posted I was going to be doing this on Facebook, and some of the reactions were interesting because I've got a book called 5,000 Words Per Hour. And non-authors or new authors, they always do this extrapolation. I remember I used to do this myself, where you'd say, okay, well, if I can write 5,000 words in an hour, then obviously it takes 20 hours to write 100,000 words. And I would just scale it up like that. And I believe that's how it worked, and a lot of people do, and it's not. Trust me, it's not. The deeper you get into a project and the more complex it becomes, the more planning is required. So what I have found on projects like this is you really need like 2 hours of planning for every hour of writing, which is why I tend to stick to lower goals. Like my average goal for most times is 5,000. If I'm at crunch time, I've pushed it to 7,000, but I've never before said I got to do 10,000. And this time I do. I've got to do 50,000 words this week. It's got to be done by Friday. And the reason for that is if I don't finish this book in that time frame, then I'll be banned from Amazon pre-orders for a year, and that will negatively impact me in a lot of ways. Pre-orders are how I stay consistent. They're an important part of my business model. I can't afford to lose them. And so I've got to get this book published on time. I don't have another choice. It's one of those burn the boat situations where, there's no going back. I either, take the island or die. I've got to get these 50,000 words down, and I'm very confident that I will finish them. Very confident. It's going to be brutal, and I don't know how brutal, and I don't know what's involved, and I'm sure I'm going to hate my life by the end of Friday, and you're going to get to hear how that goes. But I'm going to try. I'm going to try as hard as I can to get these words down and to write the best book that I can. And what makes this doubly complicated, the novel that I'm writing is called God's War. It is book 7 in a 7-book series, and so I need to tie up every character arc, every plot point, everything, all of it. So in addition to doing the volume of writing that I'm doing, I'm also doing all of that plot surgery and solving issues like that. And it's challenging. It definitely is. But, it is what it is. I chose to make a course last month, which, by the way, did enormously well. And I was very pleased with that, but it came at a cost. It cost me in writing time. I've been flying to conferences and making courses, and now, it's time to write. I got to get this done. I should have been doing it a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and had I done so, I wouldn't have these crazy word goals. But since I didn't do it, I do have these crazy word goals. Now let's see if I can pull it off. So over the rest of the video, you're going to see segments of my screen. We're going to talk about my daily word counts. I'm just going to recap everything through the week. Because the video goes live on Fridays, and I have to give all of the recorded material to Mary on Thursday, you'll see Monday through Thursday. And then Friday, I will post in the comments to say what my word count is. But what you should see in this video by the end is that my total is over 40,000, or I did something drastically wrong. Yeah, anyway, guys, let's jump into it. You can see how it goes. Okay, so as you can see, looking at the clock in the upper right-hand corner, it is 6:59 a.m. My first sprint typically begins at 7 a.m. on any given morning. What's different about today is that my word goal is double. Normally I'm doing 5,000 words a day, and this week it is 10,000 words a day. And what you can see here on the left-hand side of the screen is where the novel's at right now. I've got about 16,000 words written so far, so most of these early chapters have been fleshed out. Also notice that I have some markers scattered throughout this story, and this is where I'm at with each of these respective point of views if I'm actually writing it. So I'm pretty deep for one of the villains, and I've written most of her way through the book. But for everybody else, we're back here in the beginning, and it'll probably be between 80 and 100,000 words when all is said and done. So for me to hit my lofty goals and actually get this published on time, as I mentioned in the intro, I'm going to have to get this written fast. So 50,000 words by Friday, holy crap. It's 7 a.m. I need to get to that. I'm going to jump in now, and then I will show you at the end of the day kind of where we're at and what's changed, what we've fleshed out. I do want to talk briefly just before we go about the challenges I think I'm going to run into. Every time I do this, I can get a day or two in where I write 10,000 words a day. But what's going to happen is as I crank out 20 or 30,000 words, I'm going to run out of plotted chapters and things are going to shift a lot. And typically what happens is at that point, I have to take a plotting day, and fix things. And I don't have the luxury of doing that this week. Instead, I'm going to have to kind of buckle down and at the end of each day, do my plotting then. So after I finish my 10,000 words a day, I then have to turn around and plot the next day with words, which is its own brutal type of work. So anyway, you can see where we're at, guys, where the novel is. This basically needs to be finished by the end of the week, so we'll see how it transforms. I'm going to get into the writing, and I will see you guys at, why don't we say like around 11 a.m. if things are going well. Holy crap, I am tired. Today has been a very, very long day. As you can see, it is 4:15 p.m. and I just wrote my last word of the day. Took a lot longer than I was expecting, which made some sense because I had to do a lot more world building and plotting today than I expected. I had my characters going to a new location, in this case, the headless body of a dead god. And nations of demons live across the surface of this dead god's body. And our characters have to go there and interact with them. And so I needed to know, well, who are these demons and who leads them? What are their tribes like? And what are their social structures? And so I had to spend a bunch of time doing that. And that doesn't really count as writing time. So even though I wrote, I don't know, something like 4,000 words today of world building, I don't get to count that. I only get to count fiction. And so really, I mean, I guess in one way you can look at it is I've done 12,000 words today. But I don't get to count that. And so, or excuse me, I guess that'd be closer to 14. See, I can't even think. My brain is absolute mush, which I expect, by the way, will be at the end of every day this week. I will be virtually incoherent in many of these afternoon videos. But let me show you why. Let me show you why. I'm grabbing my word count document from off screen here. And you can see we are looking at God's War. And here is today's words. Now, notice that I stopped at exactly 10,001 words, which is not surprising at all. That chapter's not done. I just wrote the first 195 words of it. I want to go further. I would love to finish it, but my brain, again, is mush. I'm so tired. And it's interesting because what this says to me is that I'm out of shape. In the same way that if I stop going to the gym, the first day back is really hard. Today was the first day back at really hard writing. I was, sort of meandering last week and the week before, not getting the words down and allowing a whole bunch of distractions to derail me. And I was, spending time on my email and launching courses and doing a bunch of stuff that is not related to getting my book onto Amazon before the pre-order deadline expires. So I just hammered it today. I still haven't even opened my email, and that's important to note. All day, I have been avoiding doing so because I know that the second I open it, I'm going to see a whole bunch of emergencies I have to deal with. So anyway, you can see here, most of these chapters were about 1,200 words. That's my average for this series, and seems to work pretty well. And some of this will be a bit longer as it's fleshed out, but it was easy to write because I knew what I was writing, and I did serve the writing by doing the world building that I mentioned earlier. So once the world building stuff was in place, it was really easy to show these things to the reader, and actually pretty fun too. I'm very proud of these 10,000 words. Anyway, I want to keep these individual clips short because there's going to be a fair number of them. Tomorrow, I think, will be easier in that I now have some momentum, and I also still know what I'm going to be writing tomorrow. Some of today's world building will help tomorrow as well. But, I worry for the rest of the days this week because typically what happens is I get to the end of, day 2 or 3 of these intense marathon writing sprints, and then, I'm spent. And I can't afford to let that happen. So anyway, I've done enough work today. I'm probably going to open my email up and clear any emergencies and just sort of leave the rest and let it accumulate this week. Yeah, and then call it a day. This evening after dinner, I will come back out and do some plotting for tomorrow, make sure all tomorrow's chapters are lined up, and you'll see a similar set of sprints. So I'm on track to get my 50,000 words this week, but today was painful. All right, guys, see you tomorrow. Holy crap, am I tired. It is 6:25 p.m. I finished writing, I'm going to say about an hour ago. And yeah, that would be about 5:30 p.m. So I'm starting in the morning at about 7 a.m. And yesterday it took me till about 4 p.m. Today it took me till about 5:30 p.m. And I am hitting my word goal. So let me grab that and I'll show you what I did today. So as you can see, here's the last couple of days. I have added just over 20,000 words, which puts me on schedule. This is where I need to be. But I've really struggled to do it in a timely fashion. And what's happening here, and I think it's kind of funny, is lots of people are like, oh, well, you write 5,000 words an hour. So if a book is 100,000 words, it's just 20 hours. And they don't realize how much time goes into plotting and fixing things, especially since this is the 7th book in a series. And it's meant to be the capstone. I'm ending it. I have to tie up everything that happened in the last 6 books. And so I'm having to stop and do so much research. And I am getting my chapters done, but I'm working harder than I've worked in a very long time on the writing. I think tomorrow's going to be just as brutal, if not more so. I did hit a fairly major milestone in the novel that I wanted to work towards, which is great. So tomorrow I'll get to switch point of views, which will be a nice change of pace. Yeah, I'm going to keep after it. So I am tired, but I'm hitting the words and getting things done. I just finished checking my email. I spent about 45 minutes on it. It wasn't nearly as bad today as it was yesterday. Yesterday I had an audio giveaway to deal with, so I had to reply to a bunch of emails. So I'm trying to confine my social media and email to the evenings for a very narrow window and spend the rest of it focused on work. And 2 days into this, it's working. I've only got to do this for 3 more days, and I will have written a novel in 5 days, which is definitely a record even for me. So anyway, guys, I'm going to get back to it. You will see another video for tomorrow. Okay, well, as you can see, it is actually almost 8 p.m. It is 7:50 p.m. and I just finished writing for the day. Today was by far and away the toughest day. I really struggled to get words down, and I struggled from very early on in the AM. I recognized what the problem was. If this was any other book on any other timeline, then I would have taken a plotting day. I would not have written today. I could tell today was a bad day for me to be working on the words, but I haven't left myself any time. So I don't have the luxury of dialing this back, which is, it's interesting because I'm having to force myself to have the discipline to finish these writing sprints. And as you can see, today was actually the best day word-wise by a little bit. I did get a little ways into the last chapter that I was working on, and that went pretty well. And you can see the chapters were all over the place today in length. I had a couple of longer ones, but most of them were pretty short. But as you can see, I've put down a little over 30,000 words in the last 3 days. And tomorrow is Thursday, so I will get to show you Thursday, one more full day where I'll put down 10,000 more, and you'll get to see it go over 40. And then because the video is coming out Friday, obviously I won't be able to show you Friday's words, but I'm going to do the same thing on Friday. I mean, I say I don't have a choice. Yes, I always have a choice, but the choice is get banned from pre-orders for a year, or just man up and get it done. And I've decided to man up and get it done. And I'm just going to get those words down and make it happen. And there are some compromises. I've noticed a couple of chapters where the quality has suffered. It's not as good as it could have been. I ran a little dry on ideas in a few areas, and that's gonna haunt me during the editing phase. But those are few and far between, and most of the stuff that I've generated I feel like is really good, and this is going to be a great conclusion to the Magitech Chronicles. Like, this is going to be the ending that I wanted to write. So despite being written on this compressed timeline, I'm very proud of what I'm creating. And as you can see, I'm over halfway through the novel, and I'm in the home stretch. I've got a lot more work to do, obviously, but I think that I can finish this on time and still get this into the store. Like I've done 60% of the crazy word goal that I had for the week. Anyway, guys, I'm so fried. It's almost 8 o'clock. I am going to knock off for the evening and kick back maybe for an hour before bed. I will see you guys tomorrow. So, as you can see, end of day 4, it is 7:23 p.m. I finished earlier today, and I feel a lot better. Today was a better writing day, and what proved to be the big change, I think, was switching point of view characters. So the last 3 days, I've focused on Aaron and Nara, who are 2 of the principal characters in the plot, and I've been writing the same plot line pretty much the entire time. So knocking out all of those chapters, I've gotten up to the 3rd act of the book. I'm towards the end of it, and I've just been plowing through their point of view. And now today I finally get to switch that and write some characters that I really love, like Sergeant Cruz is a fan favorite and one of my favorites. And so that switch really invigorated me, and I got a great amount of writing done today. I actually slightly exceeded my goal. Not by a ton, but let's pull up the words. All right, here we go. So today was 10,517 words. I was really happy with how it went, and I'm positioned where I am unlikely to finish the novel tomorrow. I'll get another 10,000 words. I don't think that I'll quite finish it. I'll probably have like 5 or 6 chapters left over. And then I'll get to decide what to do. Do I want to write on Saturday? Do I want to save this for Monday and take the weekend off? Most likely, I'll probably take the weekend off. Anyway, guys, since you'll be seeing this video tomorrow, Friday morning for you, there won't be a Friday segment. But I guarantee you, I am going to finish 10,000 words tomorrow. I'm going to do it because I have this pre-order deadline. My book is going to be finished, and it's going to be one of the best books I've ever written. This is book 7 in a 7-book series, and I'm tying it all up. It's working. It's doing the things that I want to do. And what I've been learning is, and maybe I already mentioned this, I don't know, but it's just there's so much more plotting involved than I expected. And the writing versus plotting time, the further into a long series I get, the more the plotting sort of balloons, because you really do have to think about every thread and what would this character do and what would this other character do and how would this character react. And so it's a lot more work and it is very difficult, but it's also super rewarding. And even though it's been difficult, I have been able to sustain my momentum this week. All I got to do is keep it up for one more day, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So guys, I desperately need to get back to the writing. I've got 10,000 more words to write, and I will see you next week.